Welcome, PSYCHIANT community, to a deep dive into the fascinating world of human behavior psychology. Today, we're unraveling the intricate mechanisms that drive our thoughts, emotions, and actions. This field, a cornerstone of psychological science, offers profound insights into why we do what we do, how we interact with others, and what shapes our decisions in an ever-complex world. Buckle up for an engaging journey through the theories, methodologies, and real-world applications that make this discipline so captivating. What is human behavior psychology? Human behavior psychology is the scientific study of how individuals think, feel, and act within various contexts. It seeks to understand the internal processes cognitive, emotional, and motivational that influence our behaviors, as well as the external factors, like culture and environment, that shape them. This field draws from diverse psychological traditions, including cognitive, behavioral, social, and developmental psychology, to construct a holistic view of human nature. At its core, this discipline asks fundamental questions. What motivates us to make certain choices? How do our emotions influence our decisions? Why do we conform to social norms or, conversely, rebel against them? By exploring these questions, psychologists aim to predict and, in some cases, modify behaviors to improve individual and societal outcomes. Now, let's dive into the key theories that explain why we humans behave the way we do. To understand human behavior, we must first explore the foundational theories that guide this field. Let's start with behaviorism, a school of thought pioneered by figures like John B. Watson and B. F. Skinner. Behaviorism posits that all behaviors are learned through interactions with the environment, primarily through conditioning, classical conditioning, as demonstrated by Ivan Pavlov's famous experiments with dogs, shows how neutral stimuli can become associated with specific responses. For example, the sound of a bell paired with food can trigger salivation in dogs, even when food is absent. Operant conditioning, on the other hand, emphasizes rewards and punishments. A child who receives praise for good grades may study harder, while one scolded for misbehavior may avoid repeating it. Contrast this with cognitive psychology, which focuses on internal mental processes like perception, memory, and problem-solving. Cognitive theorists, such as Jean Piaget, argue that behavior stems from how we process and interpret information. Piaget's stages of cognitive development, for instance, illustrate how children's thinking evolves from concrete to abstract reasoning, shaping their interactions with the world. Then there's the humanistic perspective, championed by Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow. This approach emphasizes personal growth and self-actualization, suggesting that humans strive to fulfill their potential. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, for example, proposes that basic needs, like food and safety, must be met before individuals pursue higher goals like love, esteem, or creativity. Social psychology also plays a pivotal role, examining how individuals are influenced by others. Theories like social learning, proposed by Albert Bandura, highlight how we learn behaviors by observing and imitating others. Bandura's Bobo doll experiment famously showed that children exposed to aggressive behavior were more likely to replicate it, underscoring the power of social influence. Finally, evolutionary psychology offers a lens on how behaviors may have developed to enhance survival and reproduction. For instance, our tendency to form social bonds may stem from ancestral needs for group protection against predators. These diverse perspectives collectively provide a robust framework for understanding the complexities of human behavior. Emotions play a huge part in how we act and react every day. Emotions are a driving force behind our actions, often acting as the invisible hand guiding our decisions. Psychologists like Paul Ekman have identified universal emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, and disgust that transcend cultural boundaries. These emotions, rooted in our biology, trigger physiological responses that prepare us to act. For example, fear activates the fight or flight response, increasing heart rate and alertness to help us escape danger. But emotions are not just reactive, they're also interpretive. Cognitive appraisal theory, developed by Richard Lazarus, suggests that our emotional responses depend on how we interpret events. Imagine two students receiving a low grade. One might feel devastated, interpreting it as a personal failure, while another might feel motivated, viewing it as a challenge to improve. This interplay between cognition and emotion highlights why two people can respond differently to the same situation. Emotions also influence social behaviors. Take empathy, the ability to understand and share others' feelings. Research shows that empathetic individuals are more likely to engage in prosocial behaviors like helping a stranger or donating to charity. Conversely, intense emotions like anger can lead to aggression or conflict. As seen in studies of road rage or workplace disputes, motivation is everything, right? It's that spark that pushes us to chase our dreams. Motivation, the engine of behavior, determines why we pursue certain goals. Psychologists distinguish between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation arises from internal desires, like studying a subject out of curiosity. Extrinsic motivation, meanwhile, is driven by external rewards, such as working overtime for a bonus. Self-determination theory, proposed by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, suggests that humans thrive when three core needs are met: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. When these needs are fulfilled, we're more likely to engage in behaviors that align with our values and goals. Consider the workplace. Employees who feel autonomous in their tasks, competent in their skills, and connected to their colleagues are more productive and satisfied. Conversely, a lack of motivation can lead to procrastination or disengagement, as seen in studies of burnout among high-stress professionals like nurses or teachers. Social influences, the invisible forces that shape our choices and actions every day. Humans are inherently social creatures, and our behaviors are profoundly shaped by those around us. Social psychology explores phenomena like conformity, obedience, and group dynamics. Solomon Asch's conformity experiments revealed how individuals adjust their opinions to align with a group, even when they know the group is wrong. This explains why peer pressure can lead teenagers to take risks, or why employees might stay silent in meetings to avoid conflict. Obedience, studied by Stanley Milgram, shows how authority figures can compel individuals to act against their morals. In Milgram's infamous experiments, participants administered what they believed were electric shocks to others, simply because an authority figure instructed them to. These findings raise ethical questions about compliance in real-world settings. From workplaces to authoritarian regimes, group dynamics also play a role. The concept of groupthink, introduced by Irving Janis, describes how cohesive groups can make flawed decisions by prioritizing consensus over critical thinking. Historical examples, like the Bay of Pigs invasion, illustrate how groupthink can lead to disastrous outcomes. Ever thought about how our brains and behaviors are totally linked? It's fascinating. Neuroscience has revolutionized our understanding of behavior by linking it to brain processes. The prefrontal cortex, for instance, governs decision-making and impulse control, explaining why damage to this area can lead to impulsive or irrational behavior. The amygdala, a key player in emotional processing, drives our fear and pleasure responses. Neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin also influence behavior. Dopamine, associated with reward, motivates us to seek pleasurable experiences, while low serotonin levels are linked to depression and aggression. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and reorganize, further underscores the dynamic nature of behavior. Learning a new skill, like playing an instrument, physically alters neural pathways, demonstrating how experience shapes the brain and, in turn, behavior. This interplay is evident in addiction, where repeated substance use rewires reward circuits, making it difficult to quit. Understanding how we study human behavior can really open our eyes to why we act the way we do. How do psychologists uncover these insights? The study of human behavior relies on diverse methodologies, each with strengths and limitations. Experimental research, often conducted in controlled settings, allows researchers to establish cause-and-effect relationships. For example, a study might manipulate sleep duration to measure its impact on cognitive performance. Observational studies, by contrast, examine behavior in natural settings without interference. Ethnographic research in cultural psychology, for instance, might involve observing how collectivist societies prioritize group harmony over individual desires. Case studies like those of Phineas Gage, whose personality changed dramatically after a brain injury, provide in-depth insights into rare phenomena. Self-report methods, such as surveys and questionnaires, capture subjective experiences but are prone to biases like social desirability, where participants respond in ways they think are acceptable. Advances in technology, like fMRI scans and eye tracking, have enhanced our ability to study behavior objectively, revealing how brain activity or visual attention correlates with decision-making. Behavior doesn't occur in a vacuum. It's shaped by culture and environment. Cross-cultural psychology highlights how values and norms vary across societies. In individualistic cultures like the United States, behaviors often emphasize personal achievement, while collectivist cultures like Japan prioritize group harmony. These differences influence everything from workplace dynamics to parenting styles. Environmental factors, such as socioeconomic status or urban versus rural settings, also play a role. Children raised in poverty, for instance, may face stresses that impact cognitive development, as shown in studies linking chronic stress to reduced academic performance. Urban environments, with their fast-paced lifestyles, can increase anxiety but also foster innovation and social connection. The study of human behavior has transformative applications across domains. In education, understanding motivation and learning styles helps teachers design effective curricula. In healthcare, behavioral interventions can promote healthier lifestyles, like quitting smoking or managing stress. In business, insights into consumer behavior drive marketing strategies, while organizational psychology enhances workplace productivity and morale. Criminal justice also benefits. Profiling techniques rooted in behavioral analysis help law enforcement predict and prevent crime. Rehabilitation programs use behavioral therapies, like cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT), to reduce recidivism by addressing thought patterns that lead to criminal behavior. Studying human behavior isn't without challenges. Ethical concerns arise, particularly in experiments involving deception or psychological stress. As seen in Milgram's studies, informed consent, confidentiality, and minimizing harm are critical principles guiding research. Additionally, biases in study design, such as sampling only Western populations, can limit generalizability. The replication crisis, where many psychological findings fail to be reproduced, further underscores the need for rigorous, transparent methodologies as technology advances. So, does the study of human behavior, artificial intelligence and machine learning are being used to analyze vast datasets, predicting behaviors with unprecedented accuracy. Virtual reality offers immersive environments to study reactions in controlled, yet realistic settings. Meanwhile, interdisciplinary approaches, combining psychology with genetics, anthropology, and data science, promise a more nuanced understanding of what makes us human. The study of human behavior psychology isn't just an academic pursuit, it's a window into the human experience. By understanding the forces that shape our actions, we can foster empathy, improve relationships, and build a better world. Whether you're a student, professional, or simply curious, this field invites you to explore the complexities of your own mind and those around you. Stay curious, PSYCHIANT community, and keep questioning what drives us. Until next time, let's keep exploring the science of being human.